Great Nigerians and wonderful viewers and listeners of Living Radio 90.9, you're welcome to your darling station, Living Radio 90.9 and Living Television. We're back again today with your favorite program, Nigeria Today. In Nigeria Today, we'll be looking at the Southeast caucus of the National Assembly that have expressed concerns over the exclusion of tertiary institutions from the zone in the ongoing disbursement of students' loans by the Nigerian Education Loan Fund. The fund attributed this development to the lack of response from the Southeast institutions. It should also be recalled that the federal government, through NEL Fund, announced last week that 2.9 billion naira has been disbursed to 27,667 students as the first set of beneficiaries, of the beneficiaries, of the loan scheme across 19 tertiary institutions in the country. The list excluded potential beneficiaries from the Southeastern universities. Apex Imo Social-Cultural Organization, Ohaneze Ndigo Youth Council Worldwide, has expressed anger over the exclusion of the entire Southeast from the first phase disbursement of this loan scheme. And today, these are the things we're going to look at today, and I have an analyst in the house who is going to do justice to this. And we will be looking at this. Do we see this as an oversight? Or is it the normal marginalization that the Igbos has happened about for over decades? What is this all about? How can the whole Southeast be excluded from the student loan, the first set of this student loan scheme? In the studio with me today is no other person but a man you'll always love to hear from and listen to, and that is Polymath. I call him Felix. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, sir.
All right. I'm sure you are aware of this, that the tertiary institutions in Abia State, in the Southeast, not just Abia State, the entire Southeast, were excluded from the loan scheme in Nigeria. What do you attribute this to?
Well, truly speaking, it is something that has gone so viral, and many people are complaining. The students are complaining, the universities are complaining, the tertiary institutions generally are complaining. But I think I am still going to put the blames on the sides of the people who we sent out there to represent us. I'm putting the blames on the senators, the governor, the House of Rep members, and the rest of them. To me, they didn't play the right role as proclaimed. So I think that is the major steps to the negative results we are getting today.
Now, how many of Southeasterners do you think are part of this NEL fund? This loan fund. How many do you think there are some Southeasterners there? Because there must be something wrong that brought about this exclusion, and no one will see this as an oversight. It looks as if it is a deliberate act.
I don't really think it is a deliberate act, because I think most of the tertiary institutions are involved in this. It is a loan, and I think everybody's entitled to that loan. It is known as the Nigerian Education Loan Fund. Provided you are in the university, in any of these tertiary institutions, you are bound to be part and parcel of the loan thing. But if you ask me to expatiate more on this issue, I think the Imolites, which are the Imo states, they are involved too in this. I think they are part of the eastern parts of this country. So they are also part of these problems. They are also facing same things other eastern states are facing. So I think if you still ask me, I always say this, that our high hierarchy politicians are the problems we are having here.
Now, if we are talking about the caucus of the National Assembly, that is both the lower and upper chamber of the National Assembly, coming together to express their disagreement concerning this exclusion of the Southeastern institutions from this. Is this not supposed to be a bill? Are they not aware? Are they not supposed to be the people that pencil down the universities And because for them to have come out openly to say, to disclose their displeasure over this, that means we are not part of this amnesia.
I am surprised hearing this, but I think they are part of these. They are part of these bills passed, and according to the Deputy Speaker, Honorable Benjamin Kalu, he made a statement. I think it was on Monday, stating that he will do something about it, and for the fact that he isn't really part of it, but there are people set aside, which simply means that some of the Eastern House of Rep members are also involved in these caucus, but he's just surprised that it is working this way. But he has been able to assure all institutions, higher institutions involved in the Southeast to calm down while the right procedures is being melted on.
Yes, I also heard Senator Barry asking the students to apply for the loan and so on. But what the worry as we speak now, talking about the marginalization that the Igbos and then have decried all over the time, that don't you think that the pioneers or those people who are directly involved and in charge deliberately did this? Because Southeast is not just a minute community to be forgotten. And so for it to have happened this way, until now that they have started shouting, that is only when even the net fund is now saying it is not their fault, it is because the institutions never applied. Where the necessary things put on ground and done, and then the institutions in the Southeast could not apply.
Prof, I must sincerely concur to what you said. The eastern side, we've been marginalized for long. And this is just not the beginning, or this is not the first time we've encountered such thing in the past. So I think this is just a time to sit up and for us to know that truly the eastern parts of these countries, we are not being treated well. Okay, look at exactly what, according to them, I had to go on research and get to observe that the Northerners, the most of the universities in Northerners and institutions in Northerners, they benefited all from this bursary. There are no university was skipped from this segment of the Nigerian Education Loan Fund. So I can vividly agree with the fact that we, the eastern parts of this country, we are truly suffering from the word marginalization.
I think one of the reasons for these, let us look at it. From your own point, what do you think is one of the major reasons for this loan fund?
I think it is a way to help our students, helping them possibly through their academical pursuits, helping them in paying some of their academical bills, and actually giving them hope. For instance, those of them who are going through hell, looking for what to eat. It is not always good for you to have an empty stomach and at the same time you are reading your books. So I think this is actually one of the medium the Nigerian government decided to be of help to the students so that at least can engrave them off from their weakness during their educational proceeds. I think that's the essence.
Yes, I also think that it's not just about helping the students to feed well while reading. I think also there are a lot of people whose parents borrow money to send to school. With these loans, it is going to ameliorate the suffering of most of these parents. Students can now take care of themselves, and then since they are going to pay back. And I also think one of the benefits of this, don't you think it will also help government to make sure that these people get a job to enable them pay back?
Yeah.
So if that is the case, why would a whole southeastern states be excluded?
Prof, I sincerely want to ask a question here. The question is, how much is the loan? How much is the exact loan we're expecting each student to have? I think it is just 50,000, based on my findings. I don't know, but based on my findings, I think it's just 50,000. So I don't know if it is above or lesser, but that 50,000, if it is, but I think it is just not a big money to sway on or return back from. I don't know, but that's my way of looking at it.
Well, the grammatical balance, loan, that means you must pay back. But the truth is that if you look at it, 2.9 billion naira for 27,667 students. Well, we will have a good mathematician to tell us what the figure is, but I don't think it's a huge money, so to say. And I don't know any tertiary, I don't know what 50,000 naira can even do for a student. You know, outside I don't know if there is any school that takes anything less than 80,000 or thereabout. Unless they're just giving them what Buhari administration used to call feeding money.
Yes.
All right, having said that, then the position of Ohanaeze Ndigbo in these instances is also something to worry about, because they said they have expressed anger. And this is part of the thing they are talking about. And then at times it looks as if they are speaking from both sides of their mouth, because it was just about last week while they were discussing about the presidential jet, Ohanaeze Ndigbo, through the secretary, came out openly to say that Tinubu's life is more important. That is to say that irrespective of the economic quagmire in the nation, that buying that private jet of 150 billion naira was necessary when a lot of people are dying in their tents and units, and the federal government could not address these. They could not address the protesters. Address one of the reasons for the protest. It was not addressed at all, and then coming out now to express anger over the exclusion of the Southeast. How many other things in the federal government that had included the Igbos generally, from your understanding?
I have never for once taken the Ohanaeze Ndigbo serious for once. The reason is because they are not really speaking, they are not really sticking to their words. And not just that, and at the same time, they are not really people to confide in. And this is not, the reason why this one is escalated, I think it's because it has to involve the students, and you know the way students behave. One thing that involves money, you see the student escalating and making it go viral. No matter how small it is. Even if it is 1,000, you see them shouting. So that is the reason why all of this is escalating. So there are many more things that has happened in the past. We are yet to hear from this Ohanaeze Ndigbo. So they are only there to make jest of themselves and bring out something out of nothing. So they are not to be taken serious. And my own concern is that the president, what they call it, the NEL fund, they should rally around, do something about it, and make sure that the southeast side of this country gets what they truly deserve in regards to this loan.
All right, recently the First Lady of the nation, though it's not constitutional, that is the wife of number one man, Jagaban, the president of the country, Tinubu. The president's wife has been going around states. I think it was in Abia the other day, and giving out women 50,000, though I have not been able to reach any woman that is a recipient of this money, has been to some other states, giving out 50,000 to women, you know, who to enhance their trading, for those of them who are businesswomen who are trading. And this is the palliative that has been the problem since the inception of this administration. Do you think this thing is going to in any way help the suffering masses?
Well, I think the essence of giving out money to traders is to make sure they do one or two things in order to keep themselves busy. And I think it is also going to be a plus, provided it is not a loan. Because the system we are practicing here is a loan format where everything is given to you as a loan, and at the end of the day you end up paying, whether in cash or in kind. And they always have their way of extorting or getting their money back if you don't pay. And this is one problem we have in Nigeria. So I think the First Lady has actually done well. And the essence of going around, giving out cash, 50,000 naira to our traders is a plus. And I think it is a very good one to the country in general. And I think it will speak of, that is, if it is truly true.
Okay, then considering the way I think the level of inflation in the country, what do you think 50,000 can do for a trader?
Well, the giving out of 50,000 naira is just to be of plus or positive inputs in the sense that you're only adding to what you have and do something meaningful out of it.
Okay, now talking about this, as an analyst, do you think these are palliatives? Do you prefer the palliative than better governance?
Nobody is likely going to prefer palliative to better governance. I think on this issue, it is very, very important that all the states should put heads together and make sure that the people get and be part of a good governance. Getting a good governance is very, very essential, and I think it is the vital thing the states generally needs, not just the palliative given out of 50,000. Or I was told of recent that there is actually a loan rather from the state government by our states that came up of recent. Few people got 30,000 while others got 20,000. But the question is this: what is that 20,000 or 30,000 going to be? What is the usefulness of that money to the people I think they are representing? I think it is absolutely nothing, and it is regarded. It is called a loan. That is the problem.
Now, I know also you are a partisan politician, so to say, and it is also. Let us also find out. Now, in this state, we have had palliatives from the federal government. We have had palliative bags of rice. We have also had another 100 and something trucks of rice that also came to this state. How many persons, maybe from your locality, how many persons were beneficiaries of this? We are beneficiaries of these palliatives sent by the federal government.
This is where we've been having problems right from the onset. And you agree with me, even the past administrations too, we encountered the same thing. It is just natural that it is not everything that comes up from the coffers of the government that the general house will get themselves involved in or get in touch with. But what I'm trying to say is this: it is very, very important that we should look beyond partisan politics and make sure that whatever thing that comes up should be regarded and be reduced to us in a due time. But I think in Abia in general, there are things we are not always getting right. And for that reason, I think we should work on ourselves and make sure that everybody involved gets that dividend they should desire.
Okay, having said that, I don't you also think that even moving around by First Lady, that this is just a sort of political campaign to ask women? You know, women, I think they are a majority when it comes to voting and so on. Don't you think that what they are doing is just more or less a political campaign? And most of the things sent to the state, no matter the state it comes to, it goes to the party that is directly involved. I have not seen any. The two-time palliatives of rice and so on, I've never seen any. And in Imo State, it was reported that a man was arrested, the ward chairman of APC was arrested for selling the palliative meant for the people. So don't you think that this is an indirect political campaign?
Every positive move made by a politician has a political undertone. And I think in this issue too, we're talking about the First Lady has a motive for doing that. And one of the extensive motives for doing that is to make sure that the husband turns out to become the president who come 2020, the next term rather. And I think that's our major moves of making sure that the women vote in the husband and make sure that he becomes the president afterwards.
Now, the way, let us take a little trip back concerning the just concluded protest, throughout the nation, and the president of the country gave out 39 or 29 paragraph statement that lasted for some minutes, and none of the issues raised by the protesters was touched in that address. Do we call this patriotic leadership?
Well, I think looking at that statement made by our dearly president, it was really something to not write home about. And to me, it is really a laughing stock on our side, because truly that man in question didn't mention anything in regards to the protests had or made by the people or he's actually representing. And I think, falling back to that protest, I think it's of no use rather going to do that protest, because it didn't yield out anything. And at the end of the day, the protest is over and everybody's relaxed and nothing was touched, nothing positive came out from it, and it is just the same way it is, and it is still getting worse all day. So I think the president himself should better sit up, do something, and make sure that he revives the country to a better one. That is all I have to say about that, sir.
Okay, if democracy is the government of the people, for the people, and by the people, and the people are making a demand from their own president, the person they elected, if this is actually democracy, and what is the big deal in yielding to the demand of the people? If the people say, remove subsidy, Jonathan was there, that subsidy was not removed, and the economy was better. We know how much dollar was then, and even this petroleum we're talking about. And you also remember in 2012, when Jonathan was still upset, our president number one now was the one who led the protest and gave Jonathan all sorts of names and so on. And today, about 1,000 plus of these protesters are in police custody. So is this actually democracy?
We are not really practicing democracy, if you ask me. We are practicing a different segment of democracy. And I think it's even better for us to practice the military region politics than what we are practicing today. Because to me, I think the problem we're having in Nigeria is the people we call the inner caucus. I think Tinubu, whether you like it or not, he has his own caucus. And these caucus are the people that speaks for him. They are the people that gives him advices and tell him what to do. When we talk about the likes of, okay, let's talk about Buhari during his own tenure. You can see that people still complained about Buhari, and today he's no longer president of Nigeria, and we are seeing a different man who has a different view for the country. And I pray the way it is going today that the country will not get to the mud. That is just our prayers.
Okay, finally before we go, if you look at the cost of governance in Nigeria today, I think it's nothing to write home about. It's damn too high. Take for instance, the federal government has passed a bill to ensure that civil servants are paid 70,000 naira minimum wage. And while the senator goes home and they're almost lynching the senator who announced. And one of the senators equally came out to say that even the 29 million naira a month is nothing to write home about. That is only big in papers and so on. And yet, these same people cannot pay up to 100,000 to a civil servant, and considering the level of inflation in the country. So where do you think we go from here?
Our politicians are truly very selfish, and they are really not helping matters. And on this note, I think it befalls on the president and the people that are leading us aright to make sure that they do the needful. And one of the needful is to make sure that the civil servant, public servants, should have a specific or a durational amount that should be very, very okay for them. At the end of the day, one shouldn't go for a job. At the end of the day, you get, at the end of the month, no matter the level. I can remember somewhere in Abia State, or rather in Abia here, level 8 person, someone who works as a level 8 officer, gets a salary below 40,000, which is not supposed to be. And I think it is something, the excess of this minimum wage. But the problem is this: what makes us think the government of today will abide by the federal government's minimum wage range and allow us to astute or possibly commence with it? I think it is just not possible. If we are going to be having like the 36 states, I sure know that states that will appreciate or accept such figure will definitely not be up to 12. Because they are still interested in what comes into the purse of the government, and they are still ready to keep driving the states to a nowhere. That is the problem we are having here.
All right. Before we go, having talked about the Nigerian educational loan fund, and then the exclusion of the southeastern universities And then we believe that something new, like the senators and the House of Rep members, like Abadibe, has also asked all the students who are involved, like Abia State University and some other tertiary institutions that are directly involved. Because I think this time it's just federal universities and state universities. Yeah. They've now come down to polytechnics and colleges of education. Maybe that will be the second phase of this. Yeah. Having said that, before we finally call it a pitch today, I also want you to look at these costs of governance. Take for instance Abraham Traore of Burkina Faso. Look at what that young man is doing. This is a man who came in and refused to change his own car, and then asked all the cabinet members to manage what they have. Yeah. Instead, they use it to procure tractors for agricultural produce and so many other things. And that place is being transformed now. At what point will Nigeria get to that level? And yet, we answer the giant of Africa.
The truth is this: we are not gianting anything, and that is the truth. And this is a country that has actually come to stay. And the truth is this: everybody, if you ask me, this current government is truly not helping matters. We are having politicians that are only interested in their pockets. They're only interested in what they make out of themselves, and not to the joyous of the people they are representing. So today, I think the problem we're having here in Nigeria is that everybody is only interested in that thing: the name, the fame, the wealth, and the family. So if you talk about the other side of the countries, you see that they're only interested in what will bring forth growth to that country. But in Nigeria, it is the opposite of what we're seeing today.
All right, and then finally, like I said, in Abia State, the one-time 30,000 naira minimum wage, as announced by the past administration, Buhari, was never implemented here in Abia. And how are we sure that this 70,000 naira will be implemented?
I think on the side of His Excellency, Dr. Chairman Exclusion, he is an economist. I think he has a better, a positive vibes for the civil servants. And if you ask me, I think he will do something. He will do something. I think he has the people at heart. I was able to have a close interaction with a retiree, and truly they are smiling this time around. They are getting their wages at when due. Every 28 or lesser than that, they get paid according to her. And this is unlike what we're saying.
What about the parastatals?
The parastatals, well, the truth is this: we don't compare what we're seeing today than the past administrations. So we are hopefully.
And the kind of money we are making now, the past administration never saw it.
And I guess that is the reason why it is getting from glory to glory, sir.
Okay, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for being part of today's program. And I want to also comment, just like Polymar said, that the governor of the state, from every corner and avenue, they say you are trying. And I also think you are trying. But the most important thing, some of the campaign promises, like setting off all the arrears, old civil servants, I know you will soon do that. Keep it up and continue doing well, and make sure you carry everybody along. Carry everybody along, and let's see how far we can go. Having said that, in today's program, this is where we'll be ending it today. If you are a governor, govern well. If you are a local government chairman, do that very well, especially now that the local government has been granted autonomy. I think the local government will be up and doing this time around. And I also believe that the governor of the state, Governor Alex Oti, is going to just adhere to that, and will not be a time of sharing the local government money and giving them peanuts. And that is why the local government cannot even grade ordinary roads. I'm sure the narrative is going to change this time around, that we have another person there. Having said that, I thank you for being there. Polymath, thank you for being part of today's program.
Thank you very much, sir.
And this is your command, Chinedum Godson Adiele. Keep it with us some other time. Bye for now.